tons of fun because the feedback has been amazingly positive.
You have something new to present at Gamescom,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So what is it?
Okay, so basically, the game has been in development for quite some time, about 3.5 years, 4 years. And it started early access on 13th of December 2013, so it's quite a while. However, we quickly realized that whatever we wanted to do with Dayz wasn't doable on the old technology. So we started developing a new engine called Enfusion. And what we're showing here is actually the game on the new engine. So all the features that we were talking about all those years are actually playable here. Although you have only 10 minutes to try the game, because like tons of people coming here, we just need to turn it over. But they have been having so much fun so far.
Well, we actually have a footage
yes.
of the new engine, right? So let's jump straight into it and see how it looks. So tell us something, what is happening here? What is the new thing that we didn't see before?
Okay, so as you can see, the player on the right, the player on the right is actually showing injured animations. So all of the things that we wanted to do with the player itself were about showing something visual. So when there are things happening in game, you don't need to look at the UI itself. You can see everything happening in front of you and looking at the character. So you can see exhaustion, injury, things like that, that you can easily tell that what's happening to your character. That couldn't be possible before because we have no blending animations in the old animation system. And a lot of the clunkiness that you would feel in the old game, like the controls, because a lot of the people don't realize, but the most important thing when you're making a game is like things you do with camera, because that gets annoying really fast. Controls, so how you actually interact with the environment, like how it feels, and not only controls, camera, but also basically the flow of the game, and that changed completely.
All right, well that's awesome to hear. Actually, we didn't talk about what is the game about, because some viewers that are tuning in right now might see Dayz for the first time,
very
and they're wondering, well, that's cool and all, but what is the goal of the game?
Okay, so when you look at what's on the market, Dayz has been one of the first survival games that has came out. However, it always been full of something that Bohemia is all about, and that's simulation. So we focus on realism first and foremost. So all the things that you see in game are trying to focus on having a post-apocalyptic simulator that's showing the world that just has gone through an apocalypse. But since it's multiplayer and the interaction with other players in a persistent world that you can change, you can build things, has so much effect on how you do things in that game. Because when you lose your character, you lose everything. So the permadeath on Dayz, which is one of the first games that tried it in this way in multiplayer environment, has been one of the amazing features.
Okay, so the game is intense, that's for sure.
Yeah, very intense.
All right, well, it looks so much better on this engine when it comes to like the graphical aspect, the visuals, right? They're so improved.
Okay, so when it comes to visuals, a lot of the Dayz that has been seen before has been made with like Flashpoint, Arma 2 assets, Arma 3 assets. But with the new engine, we have so much technology that we can offer and use when we're making those assets. So we utilize that to the full extent. The game, however, currently doesn't have all the assets reworked, but like vegetation, trees, forests, some of the buildings, but everything is getting redone right now. So we're going to launch it in one get-go, and we're very excited about that.
So the patch will have to be massive.
Yeah, it's going to be, like when I was talking to people at the booth, and when you see the game and see how they play, it's just amazing, because all those things that we're talking about, they can finally see them and get their hands on them, and it's just, after 4 years of exhausting explanations, it feels just really, like, yeah, it's amazing. I can't really explain that.
That's awesome. You feel like you're revitalizing the entire franchise with this whole thing.
Well, especially because I still feel that none of the competitors on the market did the thing that we did, because the game is still very specific. Like, you can go in an arcade way, you can go to more realism, but the post-Soviet environment that just like hits so many players, because like not a lot of games use Eastern Europe as much, and I think it's one of the big themes. And when you imagine just the game coming out, and we're going to make server files available for everyone for free, and so as soon as they get their hands on that, they can start modding the game. And everything you see in that game is made in script, so you can change anything.
Wow.
Anything.
Well, that opens so many doors, right? I mean, this is how the biggest franchises in the entire multiplayer world were created, like Counter-Strike, right?
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
fully modded. All of these shooters basically on the engine from Half-Life, right? So that's actually insane.
It doesn't even look like the same game, man.
That's insane, actually.
It's insane, actually, right? Dude, it looks beautiful.
And we still haven't done anything with the lightning, so there's so much more
There's still a lot more to go?
Yeah. But I'm so hopeful because this is going to be really big thing for us.
Is this what people wanted, though? Did they just want enhanced graphics, or is the gameplay changed? Have you guys... I mean, it's constantly evolving, right? We're talking about a game that's constantly being updated. But you're saying you're getting feedback today. What has some of the feedback been?
So, all of the gameplay features that have been in the game that's live now have been changed. Like none of it feels
it's never the same game, right?
And even what is live right now and what you play here when you try the Gamescom demo, you'll see immediately like the melee combat, the ranged combat. We want to do something very specific with the game. So when you start the game and you look at the inventory, you can see like quick slots in the game and inventory that has been redone as well. However, we want you to create like something like profiles in a general sense. So the quick slot is like a very important thing for the game because the amount of them increases with the amount of gear you have. So when that happens, you can use those quick slots for actions in the environment. So for example, I want to be a medic, I dress up as a paramedic in the clothes, I have some small weapon in the hand, I have food and defibrillator and whatever in those quick slots actually from the inventory, drag it in. And as soon as you hold the quick slot button, the action actually pops up on the screen in the main UI, and you can just use it like freely walking, whatever. It just we wanted to not really simplify because it's not simple.
It is. It's not simple, but you wanted to simplify with the UI.
The flow of the game is so much easier.
So quality of life improvements.
Yes,
basically.
yes.
And that's super cool to hear. I have maybe a bit of a random question, but what are the ways you can die in the game?
So many ways. So basically, when you look at how character works now, he actually has a stomach, so you can get it full, and the calories actually get burned properly, and there's a stamina system, so you stop sprinting. The stamina system actually is modified by your weight that you're carrying, so the maximum of the stamina actually gets cut, and the lower it gets, it slowly replenishes. And so when you decrease the maximum stamina, it gets slower because the first third of the stamina is actually quite slower. So the more heavy you are, there are so many details that just like for melee combat and the switching, you can immediately feel like it's a different game.
That's amazing to hear because it actually looks
like a different game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I just want to play it right now. I'm a big fan of realistic combat, so I'm really happy to hear that you guys improve on that as well.
And especially if you like guns and you play Dayz, especially when you look at the quick slots and how you interact with them and with guns. R key is actually just used for the, how do you call it? I can't remember the word in English. It doesn't really matter. It's just like you basically, it's a manipulation with the gun. And for example, you have a revolver, you wanna load the revolver, and it's a continuous action. So basically, you have the ammo in the quick slot. You hold the ammo, so you're just like on the key, hold it first, and I want to reload, and it shows up on the screen, and you start reloading with the left button, and you can actually see how he breaks the gun, and as soon as you stop the action, it just stops, and there's the actual amount of bullets. So the flow of the game, especially in range combat, has changed as well. Quite a bit down.
What about the guns itself, like shooting the gun? Did it change? Is it something added?
The ballistics have been very good for Arma game. Like the Bohemia has developed military simulations as well in the previous iteration. And we look at Arma, like ballistics have always worked really, really well. We hadn't had problem with that, so we didn't touch that. Like there's no reason to change something that's working really well. But it's like the working with the gun and how you interact with it has changed quite a lot.
Okay, well now we can see some melee combat right here. And he's
dead. Oh man, we were going to get into it. I was like, oh, we got trolled.
Yeah, but when it comes to melee combat, when you look at it, it actually like it detects the amount of entities in front of you, so it automatically switches like to the proper entity. We've been tweaking it quite a lot, and it feels really nice. Like when there are hordes of zombies around you, we can just like punch them. You see the hit reactions; they go bad, they get knocked down, things like that. And even with players, like you start fighting with them, you have a axe, you raise your hand and just like smack him in the face.
What about zombies, actually? What happened here there?
So zombies, there's so much work to be done on them. But as I said, a lot of it is done in script, if not all, and we want to make them a lot better than they were. In the Gamescom demo, you'll see still a lot of bugs with zombies, but that's actually one of the focus that we're dealing with right now, before the beta release. But yeah, the idea is that these infected are going to actually react properly to very different things. So we want to have stealth system in game. It's one of the most important things that people wanted from DayZ mod. And when you look at stealth and different stances in the game, from prone to like crouched to standing, and how it affects like the zombie vision, he actually has a cone properly. He actually hears sound. So if you're behind a wall, the sound doesn't travel that far. There are even like different like sound effects. You can actually lure the zombies away. So you throw things, they go that way. So there's a lot more interaction with the zombies as well. And there are funny things in the demo as well. We have like a megaphone. We can actually shout on the whole city with a megaphone.
Okay.
And features like base building, like getting a camp up with sandbags and electric fences, watchtowers that you can guard, and have a loot caches in there. So I'm just excited.
Okay, that sounds great. All of those are massive improvements.
Yeah.
When you compare it to the older version of the game. I know you said you don't have an estimated time of the patch, right? But I'm still going to ask you when it's going to get released.
Okay, I'm gonna say one thing. It's playable here, so it shouldn't be that far away. We just want to be sure. We had some really bad experiences with timelines and estimates, and it's hard to explain to the general public that with development, it's a risky thing. It's always risky. It's always full of chaos. You fail, you get back. You fail, you get back. But the only way out of this is having a good game, and that's the only thing we're about now.
And that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
Any last question?
No, I mean, what's one of the newer updates that you're really, really excited about? One of your favorite ones?
That has to be the beta patch. Like that, as I said, like there's nothing between what is now and that, and we need to hit that. Like that's the only important goal.
That's amazing. Great, good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eugen, for being with us here to talk about DayZ. It's a fantastic update, and hopefully we get that as fast as possible.